My name is Matt Haynes. I'm an audiobook narrator, and I am honored to get to share about a project that is coming up or is in process right now. The product of the project will be coming up, and this is Winnie the Pooh. And I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues, Richard Riemann and Trenton Bennett, who I've worked with for several years, and hopefully future colleagues, Mike Lenz and Chris Snyder, who are part of the narration cast of this project. Richard, how did this all start? What is your company? Tell us about it.
Well, basically, I've been an audiobook narrator and producer for many years, and I noticed a gap in the audiobook world, and that is that children's illustrated books don't make great audiobooks because they don't have the pictures. And at the same time, audio description is becoming more and more popular in movies, TV, live theater performances, things like that. And I thought, why not combine the two and have all the pictures in picture books described, not just for blind and low vision children, but also for all children, because all of a sudden, picture books can be audiobooks. So that's what we've done. Imagination Videobooks is a nonprofit. We started just a year ago, and we already have over 100 video books and audiobooks produced for not just blind and low vision children. We are adding captions and simultaneous ASL sign language interpretation for deaf children.
Richard, nonprofit doesn't automatically mean that people aren't making money doing this, but my understanding is that the majority of people participating in these projects are donating their time and talent. Is that right?
Yes, most of the over 100 narrators who have volunteered to help us out are volunteers for us. We do, however, have a dozen visually impaired narrators, and we do pay them because it's very difficult for those who are blind or have low vision in the industry to establish themselves as voice actors and audiobook narrators. And we believe that we need to support them in our effort.
That's wonderful, and it integrates so well to both your audience and your group, your collective of talent. Richard, how did you get to this wonderful treasure of children's literature, Winnie the Pooh?
Well, yeah, it was Chris pointed out actually that Winnie the Pooh was coming into the public domain, the original 1926 book version, and and basically that allows us to do an abridged version, to use the pictures, the illustrations from the original book too. Those are also in the public domain. And as long as Pooh is not wearing a shirt like he does in the Disney films, we're okay as far as copyright goes. So as long as Pooh is naked, we can do what we want with Winnie the Pooh original book.
Frequently with narrators, for example, I'm a narrator, and I get hired usually as the multi-voice guy, the multi-accent guy. That's my specialty. That's what tends to attract authors to me. But in this case, you have decided to have a full cast of voices for each character. How did you come to that decision, and what was it like getting the cast together and coordinating this?
Well, it's to give as many voice actors the possibility of being a part of this project, especially some of the blind narrators who are on board. So it gives them the opportunity. Plus, I mean, what voice actor doesn't want to be Eeyore or Rabbit or Pooh? And I mean, just the fact we were able to get Johnny Heller to be Winnie the Pooh, Johnny being one of the voices of the 20th century and one of the most award-winning narrators in audiobooks and children's audiobooks too. I was just thrilled that we have so many really great, talented voice actors who are part of this project.
Let me ask our cast who are here today how you became aware of the project and your journey coming to this point in the project and to the work of audio. For example, my work began as an actor, graduated from Skidmore College with BS actually in theater, and then did some training at the Del Arte International Center for Physical Theater. Worked as an actor for several years and then realized that there was this wonderful platform for acting, which gave you complete control of your schedule. And I thought to myself, that's too good to be true. And lo and behold, it isn't. And that was my journey. So after my modeling this, let's ask Michael. Um, Michael, how did you come to the world of audio and to this project?
Well, Matt, surprisingly, I live in Saratoga Springs, New York, so I'm right across the street from Skidmore College. I don't know if you knew that or not, but
I did not.
so yeah, so you may have walked past my house when you were at college here, I'm sure, perhaps. Maybe not. I may not have lived here at that point. I don't want to date you at all, but I live in Saratoga Springs, and I actually had a career in pharmacy. Believe it or not, I owned a pharmacy locally for almost 30 years. And for part of the time I served in politics. So I served as finance commissioner of the city and also as mayor for a period of time. So I have had quite a varied background. And then I lost a reelection bid one of the years when I was running. And I had been doing it for about 10 years and I'd kind of gotten that out of my system. And I had some free time on my hands and I allowed myself to fill up that space with some more creative outlets, which I had kind of kept under wraps for a long time. And voice acting kind of came to the fore through various paths I was taking. Got involved in some screenwriting initially, and joined a filmmakers group. And then I learned about voiceover training. And I remember thinking one of the things I really missed about being mayor, probably maybe the only thing I missed about being mayor, was using my voice to communicate. And I enjoyed speaking to groups. I enjoyed speaking on the radio and television and being interviewed and representing the city. So I missed that piece of it. And I thought, I could get trained on how to do this. I could use my voice to communicate and I wouldn't have to run for office again. And I might get paid to do it. So that's really what began my journey. And then that was about 15 years ago. And then about 7 years ago, I started a podcast. And Richard has been a guest on my podcast. And that's how Richard and I met. And I started talking to other voice actors who were doing this on a full-time basis, or at least doing it successfully on a part-time basis. And that's really what got me reinvigorated. And I thought, I might be able to actually do this if I really concentrate. And it evolved from a part-time side hustle to a legitimate part-time job, to the point where I wasn't able to go any further with the pharmacy and my VO career. And I was, I think, around 50 at the time. And so I thought, if I'm going to make a career change, this is the time to do it. So ended up selling my pharmacy about 4 years ago and have been full-time VO and audiobook narration. It came to audiobooks as well. That career path opened up for me. And I think I've done like 165 audiobooks now. So it's become a really big part of what I do. And Richard and I have worked together in various capacities over the years. Um, and when he put out the call for people to be involved in this project, as we talked a little bit before we went on recording, I grew up, obviously, the stuffed animal, I'm not ashamed to say, when I was growing up was a Pooh Bear. And I still have that Pooh Bear to this day. I don't sleep with him anymore, but I still have him. and it's just a part of my childhood. And I remember reading to our children those Pooh stories. So to be involved in this project was an instant yes for me. So I reached out to Richard and said, any way I can be involved. And he ended up letting me take a shot at Eeyore, and I was cast in that role. So that's how we got here.
Fantastic. Trenton, how about you?
Well, I've been doing audiobooks for several years now. I had done a little bit in high school and college, not a lot, taken some theater courses and been around folks who were in plays, hung around the theater crowd just a little bit. Then I did a couple of little voiceover bits here and there over the years, and I ended up mostly using my voice for training and training videos and instructional content. And that was just part of my regular day job. But at the same time, I kept thinking I'd love to do more. And reading stories to my child as she grew up, or playing with her and doing little funny character voices, I just loved it. It was something I always enjoyed doing anyway. And then I met David H. Lawrence the 17th, and the ACX Masterclass was my doorway into this world, which was awesome because I got done with that. And before I was through the class, I had my first audiobook. And yet, I still went through a lot more training, including VO Heroes. I learned different kinds of voiceover. I auditioned for everything, and audiobooks kept coming back to me. And I liked that because when I read the Winnie the Pooh books to my child, that was very special. But when I was very small, I remember Winnie the Pooh coming on television and being blown away at the bit where Tigger is, spoiler alert, Tigger is stuck in the tree, and the narrator simply tilts the book to allow Tigger to climb down the lettering on the pages. That level of fourth wall break as a small child, I adored that. So when I saw that Richard was putting out auditions for this, I'm like, ooh, I got to do this. I got to try. And I actually picked a bit from the book that's in that section because it has all of the characters. So I did my audition with a little bit of everybody in it
Mm.
and then landed the role of Piglet, which was awesome.
Awesome, awesome. And the thing that you bring up that that resonates with me, and I'm just wondering, everybody, I certainly came to audio not consciously with bedtime stories, but I had a very rich relationship with my parents, with being read to, and also the joy of reading to people. Does that resonate for you folks as well?
Absolutely. I mean, this is how I definitely became a storyteller. Reading to my kids and being read to, just part of my life. I spent many years in radio news before I got into the audiobook world, but it's all about telling stories. And what a thrill it is for me to full time, be being characters in books for children. So that's why this is such a wonderful project.
It
Very much
is.
so. One of the things I loved about Imagination video books in particular is because when I was a child, my parents and grandparents would point to the word and move their finger along so I could learn to read. And I did the same with my daughter, trying to guide her. And I thought about how useful that would be for any small child to be
Mm.
able to see the words and have someone read it out loud and all of that. The descriptive audio, the ASL, that's just a fantastic bonus.
And descriptive audio, ASL, and the tools that enable people with hearing or visual impairment dovetails right into Chris, who has a unique story getting to this work, and I'd love to hear more about it. Chris.
Um, well, thank you for having me. The, the my childhood was, as you said, very rich with storytelling. I had uh, everybody in my family, my parents, my grandparents, everybody read to me as I've been totally blind since birth, so um, I had a lot of that coming into it, and I also, probably more than other kids, got the uh, the books that had the records that went along with them, and it is time to turn the page when you'll know it is time to turn the page when you hear the chime ring like this.
Yeah.
That guy. And so I got a lot of those books and learned how to narrate. I learned by listening, the tone, the aspect, and it always really appealed to me. And I always would run around doing accents and voices and things like that. And kind of always wanted to be in this field. Um, and so the other thing that appealed to me about it was all the production aspects that went into it, the music, the sound effects, um, the way that everything came together, and that drew me toward audio engineering and audio production. And So that's what I focused on as a young person. And it so happened that I fell into the world of audio description for television and film, and learned how to do it and learned how to narrate for it. And then there was a break in that career for a little bit, and I went into full cast audio drama production, where not only did I act in it, but I produced them and did sound design for them, and won a couple of awards for that from the Ogle Awards, which was a blast and an honor. And then went back to audio description, and then through that and through the colleagues that I have in that field, met Richard, and the rest is history. And Winnie the Pooh has always been a favorite of mine. Um, the Disney characters uh, that portrayed those voices were so unique. John Fiedler and um, oh gosh, I've just blanked on the guy who does Winnie the Pooh for them in the original movie, but
Uh,
um,
Jim Cummins, one
he's
of
the
them.
new one, I
Yeah.
believe. But and he's very good. But yes, him too. I mean, they're so talented, and they have such unique voices, and they gave these characters such unique voices. So when I saw that Winnie the Pooh came into the public domain, I called Richard and I said, this is out. Do you want to do it?
Mm,
So here we are.